Are back. The Shades of Green on KDWN 720 AM and 101.5 FM here in the Valley of Sun and Sin. Speaking of sun, we have Garden Farms in today with Vanessa Portillo and Bryan Cabble. Good morning.
Good morning.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about that we glanced over a little bit is trimming trees. What happens if you don't trim the trees at the right time?
At the right time. Well, then you're just inviting pest and disease in. So you want it days. So, no rain, no gray skies. So kind of like making hay, really. Clear sunny days,
dry.
And you want So
Which is not hard to find around here.
Yeah, luckily we're
since we all
we're
know
in
how to make
business.
hay.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't want to invite pest or disease or make an entryway into the tree for them at all. So you do it when there aren't pests around. Winter's perfect, and there's a lot of clear, sunny days. So if you're doing it at the wrong time, then you're bound to catch something more likely than not, because all the pests are out and about doing their thing, and they're like, hey, there's a wound in that tree. That's a place for me to get in or to lay my eggs or what have you.
What if you cover it right away?
Interesting.
With paint over it?
You know what? The tree heals its wound faster without the paint.
Does it?
Is what I've found. Yeah, and there's even been some more recent research that backs that up. So I'm always against like the tar paint or just painting over any pruning cut. I just let the tree naturally do its own thing. Yeah.
Even big cuts?
Well, I mean, how big are we talking? Because if you're doing big cuts, you might be cutting down the tree. Oh, well, hey, if you got a fruit tree where a limb that you're cutting off is like a foot in diameter, then you need to be telling me how to do stuff. Because then I mean, you've got giant fruit trees that are going.
Well, I have a pretty big fig tree, and I have one branch that came straight out. And
Okay.
it was like, I don't know how you get a branch to grow straight out. It was 8 feet long almost.
Yeah, figs
And
I
it's
won't
like-
cut any time of year.
So I
just
cut it,
beasts.
and then I covered it with this latex paint.
Yeah.
Oh.
My Hispanic friend, he said, give me some paint to cover these wounds. He cut an elm tree, or was it mulberry tree, and I took out a can of spray paint. He goes, no, you can't use that.
Well,
It's got to be latex, so it's water based. And I said, that makes sense. So you don't want to put
the fig tree already has its own built-in.
latex.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's true.
If you ever
As soon as
cut
you
a fig,
cut
you
it,
see
it
that.
starts bleeding white.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I cut that off. I haven't seen any problems. And by the way, the borax, and sugar water took care of the ants.
I know, it's
yes.
the
And
best.
then I've seen several Hispanic people who have painted the trunks of their trees white. And I'm like, what's with that? They said, well, it keeps the bugs out. And I was like, what do you paint it with? It's something called cal. I'm like, what's cal? I don't know. I said, where do you get it? Mexico. I'm like, where do you get it around here? I don't know. So any idea what this is?
Well, so what I like to do is the diatomaceous earth paste. So just that and water, but make sure you got a mask, because diatomaceous earth is just crushed up microscopic
Shells.
shells. So it's really sharp and abrasive. So make sure you're not breathing that into your lungs.
And the majority of it's radioactive, by the way.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe not use that. But so we do that because, and some people will do watered down latex paint, but I don't like that as much, because with the diatomaceous earth or other things like kaolin clay, which one of the product names for that is Surround. So that might be kind of the same stuff
That might
as
be
cal.
what they're talking about. That sounds like
It's got
kaolin.
that abrasiveness, so when you paint it on, these borers, the moth comes and it's like it lands on this. Well, it's like walking on glass. You're not going to lay your eggs on that. So then they'll go find some other tree to go lay their eggs on, and when the eggs hatch and they bore into the trunk, the little grubs, they're not going to want to bore into something that is like eating glass.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's
And
the
you
better
want
way
to
go.
use a food grade diatomaceous earth. So pool supply stores sell them, sell it for really cheap, but that's just for pools. It's not the food grade kind. So you want to be sure to get your diatomaceous earth from a nursery, and that will be safe, for humans and pets as well. So
Well, you can imagine the fig tree, the ants just loved it. And the problem I had was, as I'm picking the figs, the ants are falling down my back. So I had to get rid of them.
yeah.
I'm doing the dance right now.
Yeah.
Well, really quick, if I could just talk about on January 12th, which is a Saturday,
Okay.
we're having another big volunteer day at San Miguel Community Garden, and Bryan is going to be teaching a class on how to prune your fruit trees. So they have an orchard there, so that will be one of the stations. It'll be set up like our last volunteer day, which was a bunch of teaching stations. So this time we're talking about pruning your fruit trees. We're going to be making our own sauerkraut, because that will be the time that we're harvesting cabbage. And then we're going to be talking about preparing your spring garden.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
And
and
then-
where's the location of San Miguel?
It's 3939 Bradley Road, so it's right near Rancho and Gowan.
And then there's other options out there for pruning classes. I'm a big fan of Bob Morris, who a lot of garden people might know locally.
Yes,
Yeah,
he also does a column in the Review Journal. I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
every Saturday.
Yeah, he's got his extreme horticulture blog as well. But he does a class usually at some point in December. He does a fruit tree pruning class, and I'm actually going to have all our farmers go to it. It's a great 101 class for people, or even if you are familiar, it's a great refresher on certain little tips and notes about certain crops and varieties of things. So that's a great class as well.
Yeah, there is a bit of an art to it for sure. Where do you cut the limbs
exactly.
specifically
Yeah.
above the nodes or whatever, and
Yep.
how long, and you can shape your trees. That's one of the things I found is I try to keep my trees shaped so they're pretty. They're not just growing all awkward like.
You don't want them too tall either, so you can't reach the fruit.
Right, that's one of the
Just
things
leave
I
it
have
for
with
the
my
birds.
fig trees.
Yeah.
So I'm picking figs, and I said to my girlfriend, "How about those up there?" And she goes, "Those are for the birds."
Yeah.
Okay, the birds are eating bugs, so let them go. Then the other tree is the pomegranate. Now, last year when I bought this house, in this time of year, I looked at it, had these nice red pomegranates still on the tree, picked them, they were wonderful. This year, the pomegranates are almost a rust red, and all of them are split open and covered with bugs. Did I water it too much?
Or you may have just gotten to the fruit too late. Once things start cracking, then you gotta grab them. Before.
But last year none of the fruits that I saw on this tree were cracked.
Yeah,
This year
they were
all
larger
cracked.
last year too.
No, I still got the same size.
Okay.
But these are all cracked, and the skins are a darker, almost a brown instead of red.
Okay.
It's a real dark reddish brown. So I don't know if I overwatered it in the spring.
It's a possibility. There's quite a few things, so we'd have to kind of delve in and
We'll
take a
make
look
it
at
It might be a lack
yeah.
of phosphorus. Phosphorus will help with the fruit production and the bloom production and help to prevent cracking.
And that's as a fertilizer then, using phosphorus as a fertilizer.
Yeah, that's the middle number on those three numbers that are on the fertilizer. It's nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So it's shoots, fruits, and roots is the saying.
Fruits and
Great.
roots. I know that in the wastewater treatment plant, they can pull that phosphorus out and make pellets out of it.
Oh, nice.
And then you put them in an airplane and fly over fields and dump it that way. It's
Okay.
it's a great use for the phosphorus.
That's awesome.
Okay, so we talked about trimming fruit trees. Is this a good time to be planting fruit trees?
Yeah, definitely. Fall's great because if you're planting them in spring instead, then they're going to get hit by the summer even faster. So planting them in the fall gives you a better chance. They get kind of acclimated better. And most things are dormant right now, so you can just order bare root, or just go to town really.
Yeah, this is the time where they're focusing less on the upper energy, like the leaves, and more on the root energy. So, so they're just kind of going to sleep.
So I did just put in 3 cherry trees. How often should I water them now?
Well,
I mean, I
have
soaked
they
them for
lost
the
all their
first week.
leaves?
There's still a few leaves on them.
Then just keep your whatever,
Not a
maybe
lot, but a few.
a couple times a week right now. It's
Okay.
infrequent and deep is what you want to do. But then when they go dormant, you could go once or twice a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, when I plant them, I put a 4-inch plastic tube to the bottom of the hole, and then put some dirt in, and then put the tree in, and then fill it up. So when I water it,
It
I
goes
water
straight
the
to
bottom
the
of the
roots,
hole.
Yeah.
So then it tries to go deep. So watering on top doesn't do any good. We'll be right back to Shades of Green on KDWN.